kid and wouldn't put it down. This song and I have been wrestling ever since. The apostles are milling around the night of the Last Supper and they sing. Always hoped I'd be an apostle. Knew that I could make it if I tried. Now the hoping to be an apostle part was, of course, no problem. I mean, who wouldn't want to be an apostle? But that knew that I could make it if I tried part got me all tangled up. Knew that I could make it sort of suggests that Jesus had some pre-planned standards, a yardstick criterion that had to be met in order for him to consider calling a person to be an apostle. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, if a person has to measure up, what would the standards have been? Then there's the part about knew that I could make it if I tried. Now tried, that part sort of implies that not only was there a standard, but that a person couldn't just happen into being what Jesus was looking for in an apostle, but they needed to work to become it, to try to do something, to measure up. Now you're probably wondering why I spent a couple of years chewing on a single lyric from a single song from a musical. Well, it brought up an important question. How did Jesus choose who he wanted to be his apostles? I mean, these people were among the most important in the church. They followed, they listened, they learned from Jesus. After his death and resurrection, they evangelized. They built the church. If they wandered off and gone back to their everyday lives after Jesus left this earth, it's unlikely that we'd be here today, knowing his love and acting on his name. He trusted, knew that they would do this. Of all the men on earth at the time, why did he choose these specific men? And the reason that question is so important to me is that I want to be his follower too. Is there something I need to do to make it? Is there something I need to try to work at, to make the cut, to be considered good enough to follow him? So look carefully at the apostles as exemplars, as models. What sort of men were they? What made them so special? Would knowing them help me determine the measure I should try to achieve? Then when I squinted real hard and tried to look at the apostles through the mists of time, I couldn't get close to them. I had trouble seeing them as real people like myself. They're all walking around in sandals and brown bathrobes, dragging fishnets. Maybe I could see them more clearly, know them better, if I tried to imagine them alive today. Okay. Well, I want to tell you, if Jesus were around today picking some apostles who would be the kind of folk you want to spread the word, to be the foundation of the church, I could give him some serious advice. First, of course, he'd be needing some intellectuals, writers preferred, maybe a couple of professors from seminaries. Then I'd recommend a few marketers or media specialists, folks trained and skilled in spreading the word. How about a celebrity or two? Because people would gather around them. They'd be natural attention grabbers. And they'd all be background checked squeaky clean, so there'd be no embarrassing scandals leaking out. But you know what? I don't think Jesus would follow my advice at all. If he wanted scholars and writers, there'd be tons of Pharisees and scribes around. He knew them well. He was in the temple very, very often conversing with them. He didn't choose them. If he wanted publicity, media, or celebrity types, he could have chosen community leaders, and he didn't choose them. He was out and about all the time, so he knew the gossip. He knew who had shady reputations. He could have avoided choosing these people, and he didn't. So, setting my advice aside, which he certainly would do, who would he choose today? Well, let's start with the fishermen. In our time and place, let's make them roofers. Peter, Andrew, James, and John, men with strong backs, working in the most difficult weather conditions, taking a beating from nature. And let's say they work off the same truck that belongs to James and John's dad, who owns the company. Now, Peter is the wild child of the group. He doesn't just climb down off stuff, he leaps off. Like Peter leapt out of the boat to follow Jesus walking on the water. Okay. Which he should know better, being a roofer. And He isn't above getting a fight to back up a friend, even when the friend doesn't want any help, the way Peter caught the ear of the soldier in the Garden of Gethsemane. And another thing, Peter kind of stays in trouble because he just says the first thing that pops into his head. Think before you speak is not in his vocabulary. Jesus called the original James and John Boanerges, or sons of thunder. So let's give the modern James and John biker jackets, chains and all, sons of thunder on the back. Yes, it's a tough crowd. But they follow Jesus as soon as he calls out to them. James and John walk away from their dad's truck in a nice business that they would have stood to inherit. The Apostle Matthew, the tax collector in modern dress, would have run one of those quickie payday loan places before he met and grew to love Jesus. You know where a single mom just barely getting by goes when she's desperate for money to take her sick child to the doctor? Yes. Matthew would gladly loan her $300 till payday. All she has to do is let him hold her car title as collateral. She can't pay? Bingo, bango, Matthew's got a brand new car. The rest of the apostles, we don't know much about, mostly just their names. So let's say that the final 70 picks up from the booths of Denny's on a Sunday afternoon. You know, folk like us. And there were women who surrounded Jesus and the apostles. Some were wealthy, and some, especially Mary Magdalene, were major gossip magnets. And his mom came along a lot of the time. So let's see who he might have chosen, who he might have picked to travel with. 4 roofers, one of them a real hothead, 2 bikers who walked off the company their dad owned, a former loan shark, 7 ordinary folk like us, his mom, and women who got talked about big time. By the world's measuring stick, they don't seem to be much. Yet, the apostles became the original saints, the ones who gave their lives to his service, the founders of the church, his most beloved while he was here on earth. And here's exactly what happened. He changed them from ordinary to extraordinary when they left their old lives behind to follow him. They say the gospel, much of which deals with Jesus' life with his apostles, means good news. And here we have some good news indeed. We don't need to be hugely important, outstandingly competent, honored for our intellect, immensely rich, stunningly beautiful, astoundingly strong, famous, or even respected to be chosen and loved by Jesus. I can approach Jesus in the words of the old hymn, just as I am, loving him, following him, assured that he will choose me and change my life in ways greater than I could